Am I getting audio now? Jeez. I'm the biggest podcast rookie of all time. My camera was not dialed, and my mic, I don't know why my mic keeps changing, like the source. Yeah, yeah. Is it better now, Hato? Mashed potatoes. Good morning. Yeah. I'm messy this morning. And my mom wanted a link, and I don't know if the YouTube chat comes through. So, Mom, if you're listening to this and you're chatting and I'm not responding to it, call me because I want to know if the YouTube chat works. But I also don't even know if you're listening. So, haha. You can't see me. I could participate in the chat, but there's no camera on me, correct? She's so sweet. She wants to listen, but she doesn't want anyone to see her. No, Mom. I'll text you back. No, Mom. No one can see you. Smiley face. Call me if I'm not responding to your messages because I need to know if they're not coming through. All right. Good morning. Jeez. It's been a rough one. Still made it out to the gym this morning, but we were up all night, man. My girlfriend's really sick, and we don't know. Crohn's, dude. She's got Crohn's, and she's just so sick. It sucks. She can't eat anything without. Well, she can eat like 3 things without feeling sick, and 2 of them are water. So, we were up all night, unfortunately, and feeling a little laggy. But I got my coffee, and I got a book that I want to talk about, and we don't miss the podcast. We don't miss the podcast. I gotta enter my Apple ID for my notes. But besides that, we had an easy weekend. I'm a little distracted because I'm entering my Apple ID while I talk. I'm making sure I can get into my thing. So, yeah, this weekend, man, kicking myself. I played so many video games, and I just have a lot of mixed feelings about video games still because they consumed my whole weekend. I spent all weekend playing video games. And I loved it. I loved every second of it. I had a great time, except towards the end. Yesterday I was played for a few hours on Sunday, and my eyes started melting in my skull, and that didn't feel good. So up until then, I was having a really good time. But you know what? I have mixed feelings about it because what I could have been doing so much more probably with my time. So let me think, to be honest with myself, if I wasn't playing video games, I would probably would have spent more time exercising, even though I told myself that this weekend was dedicated to resting, which felt nice. But that's another thing about video games. It's not really rest. I might be sitting here, but my brain, my eyes are stimulated the whole time. It's not really rest. That's an interesting thing that I am a reoccurring theme with all of these books is how stimulating TV is, video games, social media, your phone, texting. It's not resting. Even if you're just laying there, if you're watching TV is engages your brain. Playing video games engages your brain. It's not really rest. So yeah, didn't spend really any actual time resting. What does actual rest look like? I don't know. Probably looks like I don't know. Probably kind of a lot of the same. Reading a book, but that's stimulating. I don't know. The whole thing is really weird to me. It's all still so silly. This is not loading. So, sorry, my Apple ID thing is not. Anyway, I should still be able to get to my notes. Yeah, that'll be all right for now. So, yeah, that Apex dub on Saturday night will live forever. Yeah, it's true. It's very true. That was really fun. Even though it took us 4 hours to get one dub, who cares? I had a great time. It's silly because if it was summertime, I kind of tell myself if it were summertime, I would be doing going on hikes and hanging out outside and playing pickleball, and I probably would be. But I could still do all of that in the winter. I'm not doing that because it's cold outside. I can go play indoor pickleball. I just got to put in some effort to get a group together. And I could just get a group to go to the gym, or just go to someone's house like you're 6 and you just hang out at someone's house. You could still do I could do stuff outside, but it's just a funny paradox that video games they're viewed as so wasteful, waste of time. TV is a waste of time. Social media is a waste of time. We had a long conversation with my family yesterday about, or at least I was sharing my perspective on how we spend so much time we spend our whole lives trying to do stuff. We spend our whole lives being distracted. And now we get to be distracted by phones and TV and video games. But back in the old day, you were distracted by the saloon and robbing banks or robbing trains. And then even before that, you were distracted by walking around the forest or making campfires or building huts and hunting for your food and finding fresh water and making clothes. That was making your own clothes. It's just we've always been distracted. And the technology that we have today allows for some pretty intense distractions, pretty stimulating distractions. But I still feel I really don't think video games are a waste of time unless you're neglecting your goals. Because really, I played several hours of video games over the weekend. I'm talking about this because I'm trying to be honest about why, with myself, because I am kicking myself for playing so many video games. But I really don't know what else I would have been doing. My girlfriend worked every single day last week, Sunday to Sunday, till 7 p.m. And I was just by I didn't have shit to do. I caught up on my work stuff. Anyway, so that's where I'm at. But I finished. I I didn't even read a book last week. I just listened to a bunch of podcasts because I read this Do Nothing book the week before. But I had that Jobber professional development day that I ended up talking about. So I didn't even read a whole other book. I decided I really want to talk about this one still because this book was awesome. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go back to Do Nothing 2.0 by Celeste Headlee. We're going to go through this one again because it really has become my Bible. And I'll probably reference my video game addiction as we play or as we read, as we talk about it. And if your girl is gone and you don't have school, what else are you going to do? Haha, kids take up all my time. You could have kids if you want to play less. Yeah, no, dude. No, yeah, for sure. For sure, dude. Have kids. Go have kids. I'm not ready to have kids. I could barely take care of my sick girlfriend. So, I'm not interested. I'm not that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, how productive do you want to be? I could have spent all weekend writing or reading or just doing all of the productive stuff that I do all week, quote unquote. And then and not play video games. But then but every day I did play a lot of music. I played guitar just about every day. And so I'm doing shit all week. I'm doing shit all weekend. But yeah, I don't have kids. The house is clean. My roommate's never here. I don't have people to entertain or shit to do. So yeah, I just played a lot of video games, and I'm grateful that I have all this stuff to. And like I said, my video game habit, I really, really try hard to only play when I can play with my friends, because like I said, I justify it by excusing it as a social activity. So yeah, mashed potatoes and I and Steezy Lovejoy stayed up till 2 on Saturday playing games. And yesterday I played that new Elden Ring game with Ziggy Joe 5 and Hey Moon for for several hours, and we had a great time till my head was about to explode. Oh look, Mom, I see you're a clean house trumps kids. I buy into that argument. Okay, I see your chat, Mom, but it went away, and it's not in my main feed. Ugh, I don't know how to. I wonder how I'm gonna get that to. I want your chat to pop up because Hayden probably didn't see your message. That sucks. Why is that happening? Probably because you're on Twitch, huh, Hayden? My mom's on YouTube. I thought YouTube and Facebook would come up on the same, uh, side, or in the same feed. Dang it! Keep chatting though, Mom. I hate technology. Yeah, me too. I'm gonna move your. I'm gonna move it. Your. Yeah, we'll go right there, so I'll see it. Hey, but thanks for showing up, Mom. We're gonna talk. We're gonna get started about this book. Um. So yeah, okay, we're good. I just got to say first, like always, thanks for showing up and listening to the podcast. And if you want more of my content, I do uh, I do the blog on should I switch should I set up a Twitch account? I saw her chat in the vid. We're just not in the same chat cuz different services. Oh no, now you're both coming through on my I got this multi streams, but you guys won't see each other, but I could see you over here now, Mom. Yeah, this is stupid. I want you all to come up on the same side, but I see your chats now. I clicked a different setting. Yeah. No, don't set up a Twitch. I see your chats, Mom. As long as if you want to use YouTube, Twitch is annoying anyway, and I want people to use I want people to use whatever. I actually would prefer everyone was on YouTube and Facebook because that's got my podcast name. My Twitch is my video game name. Beer helps, says some goner. Yeah, beer always helps. But, I'm not going to drink beer at 8:30 in the morning. Read the other comments so I can destroy Hayden in the chat. Yeah, okay. I always read his comments because they're either really good or really cringe. So don't worry about that. Okay. Yeah, back to the podcast. I do my blog, CadenKellysBlog.wordpress.com. It's got access to everything else that I do. I haven't written in 2 weeks. Unfortunately, I've been working really hard on making these videos. And making those little TikToks, the 60-second TikToks, take a lot of time. So I, whatever. I have 2 to post that I'll post this week. And then I'm going to, keep going at 2 a week pace to try to catch up on all the books that I really enjoy and the new books that I'm reading. So you'll find those on Instagram and TikTok. My Instagram is still Caden R. Kelly, like the thing says. My TikTok is I think my TikTok is my video game name, Alpha Seltzer. Doesn't matter. Find it all on CadenKellysBlog.wordpress.com. All right. So 2 weeks ago, I reread this book, Do Nothing by Celeste Headlee. Let's get into it. I'm going to drink some coffee. All right. So I copied and pasted the notes from when I did it last time, and I realized the last time I did the Do Nothing was like 4 months ago. It was one of the very first ones. I didn't realize it was. Let's see if I can find it. I did it a while ago. Do Nothing by September 2021. So, how many months ago is that? 5. So I copied and pasted the notes that I had, and now I have new notes. I just incorporated new notes. But I'm just gonna read them all like I read it for the first time. So, do nothing. I said read the quote, the intro quote about the cult of efficiency. Okay, by Bertrand Russell, In Praise of Idleness, 1932. It will be said, while a little leisure is it leisure or is it leisure, by the way? I think she said leisure, but I've always said leisure, LEI. How do you say it, Mom? It will be said that while a little leisure is pleasant, men would not know how to fill their days if they had only 4 hours of work out of 24. Insofar as this is true in the modern world, it is a condemnation of our civilization. It would not have been true at any earlier period. There was formerly a capacity for lightheartedness and play, which has been to some extent inhibited by the cult of efficiency. The modern man thinks that everything ought to be done for the sake of something else and never for its own sake. 1932, and this book was written in 2020. So, the cult of efficiency. The whole introduction kind of goes around the cult of efficiency. I say leisure, but I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure I've always said leisure too, but I think she said leisure. You're the English teacher. So, a quote from her. She says, "We judge our days based on." Oh, I didn't even finish the quote. We judge our days based on how they blank, not how fulfilling. Damn, I messed that quote up. Too bad. Her goal is to explain that the key to well-being is shared humanity, not more efficiency. We're cutting out expressions of our basic humanity because they are inefficient, like boredom, hobbies, long phone conversations, and social clubs. Yeah, these are the shit that I'm talking about. Like if I wasn't playing video games or binge watching a TV series, we're engaged in like boring stuff. The hobbies, long phone calls, social clubs, to name a few. This concept of basic humanity, of shared humanity. This book it's pretty much broken down between efficiency and shared humanity, and the key to well-being is shared humanity, not more efficiency. So, I'll just keep going. Part 1, the cult of efficiency. I think this book was broken into 2 parts. Yeah. Part 1, the cult of efficiency. Part 2 is leaving the cult, how to go from life hack to life back. So I love this book. I'll just say it because when I started my productivity expedition, when I started this podcast and I started exercising, and a few years ago when I started cleaning carpets, what I wanted the most was to get the most money from really was like the most money possible. But I wanted to, my mindset was, it was more on the harder I work, the more successful I'll be. In this book, the subtitle is How to Break Away from Overworking, Overdoing, and Underliving. So my intention back in the day was make more money so I can be free later on. And this book, it's changed my perception from that to more of being happy today, being happier today. And a point that I want to write about in my blog is, even if you sacrifice 10 hours of work every day, 7 days a week for 10 years to grow a multi-million-dollar company, or to invent something insane, or you sacrifice your friends and your family and your well-being and your hobbies to make it, to get to wherever you are, whatever this is, but you hate your life the whole time through, then what was the point? if you hate your 20s and your 30s just so you can be rich by your 40s, or if you hate your 20s to be rich by your 30s, then what was the point? So my perception is we should, and what the book is, we're neglecting what makes us human so that we can be more efficient, and it has serious negative consequences. So let's talk about them, huh? Let's get into it. Chapter 1: Challenging Your Perceptions. It's all about efficiency versus resilience, and I like this word resilience. I think it's a virtue it should be a virtue. Strength of character, the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. Resilience. Is it not a virtue? Efficiency versus resilience. Increase your time perception. Keep a diary to see how you spend your time. Increased time perception results in less stress. Track how much time you spend on your social media or doing things you don't want to do to bring you closer to your values. We have to work to meet our needs. Once we've met our needs, it's leisure time that increases our happiness, not more cash. Huge point. That's like the whole point of the book. We have more time at our disposal than we think, just like the Bertrand Russell quote says. Most humans wouldn't know what to do if they only worked 4 hours a day, because our culture, the world that we live in, promotes filling our days with work, working 8 hours a day, working weekends, working evenings, working at home, overtime, and a lot of it's busy work. It's boring work. Oh, my back is a little stiff, and so we think we're being productive because we're working. She goes through the history of the Industrial Revolution and how work changed from mostly craftsmen and trade workers to line workers at factories, where you weren't being paid for your skill or your production, you were being paid for your labor. So she kind of explained how time became money, and that's when the shift in our culture happened, where the more hours you put in, the harder worker you were deemed, because you were deemed more productive. So the point is, as she says, whoops, how'd I get way down here? The point is, I think I read the wrong chapter from part 2. Oh yeah, that was part 2. That was how to shit. I jumped way ahead. Yeah, so the first, I don't know how I got all the way down there. Part 1, The Cult of Efficiency, Chapter 1, Mind the Gap. Slow down your pace of life. We do too much and move too quick. It's the same thing. Brooke, does the author correlate efficiency to productivity? Is she talking about our drive to be productive? The author correlate efficiency to productivity. Yes, because we have. Let's see. She does, and like I said, most of the first part of the book discusses the evolution of work, how we went from working to survive to working for productivity, and then with the Industrial Revolution, when machines started producing better than humans, like leather workers and craftsmen of all sorts stopped being rewarded for their skill and their labor, and became line workers, and were being paid for their efficiency to produce as much as possible. Yeah, she's talking about our drive to be productive. Yeah, I think that comes a little bit later. Efficiency to productivity correlate through the evolution of work. Work ethic, that's chapter 3. So chapter 2, I'll keep going. Chapter 2, the moral of the chapter is the fight over working hours has been about returning to the kind of life we had for millennia. With unions and with I say that because being efficient is different than being productive. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Maybe I'm not understanding. Yeah, maybe I'm not understanding what you're saying, but you're right. Because machines are more efficient than humans. Machines can make cars all day long without needing brakes, but humans, we have a desire to be productive, but not for 10 hours a day, not for 8 hours a day in one sitting. And that's but corporations in the early days were emphasized productivity and efficiency for profit, and then um, later on, um, so part of the evolution was as corporations demanded more from their workers for higher profit. The business owners and the shareholders took the profit and wasn't and you can imagine that's happening today too when you look at billionaires like Jeff Bezos, and they with a multi-billion-dollar company, or is it trillion-dollar company? I think it's trillion-dollar now, right? And the point is the profit from the labor throughout the whole branch of employment is not being distributed properly. The people at the bottom are working hard to keep the wheels in motion, but they're not compensated for the work because their time equals 1875 an hour. Um, that's productive, but that's not efficient, right? Gotcha. So it's talking about doing the least amount of work through efficiency by being efficient. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm trying to pull out the key points from these early chapters because the whole first part is about the um, evolution of work. So chapter 3, work ethic. The chances of becoming a millionaire in the USA are less than 1%. She talks about the American dream being either a healthy myth or mass delusion. We are trading leisure for labor, not for much and for not much more profit. We are trading our leisure for labor for not much more profit. And that's that's part of the spoiler that I shared. The wealth economists throughout thought the early wealth economists thought we would give 21st centuries I fucked this quote up too. 21st century workers more leisure and comfortable lives. Oh, I see. The wealth that economists thought would give 21st century workers more leisure and comfortable lives only went into the pockets of very few. The industrial age induced from the workers more hours with less pay, craftsmen selling their tools, less invested in end products, and they were taught work was virtuous and idleness was sin. Okay, that should summarize what I was trying to say. The industrial age induced from the workers more hours with fewer pay, craftsmen selling their tools, and less invested in end products. And they were taught work was virtuous and idleness was sin. Because, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying yesterday, Mom. Part of our human nature isn't to work 24/7. I'm thinking from examples of Heather Hang and Brett Weinstein's 21st Century Guide to Hunter Gatherer's Guide to the 21st Century. Humans have work. They worked a season and then they often rested or hibernated, basically for seasons. And with the agricultural revolution, they would work through the summer and they would reap the rewards from their harvest, or they would starve. But they couldn't grow crop all year round in most places. In North America, you can't do that all year round in some places. And but I guess everyone was still back east during that time. But the point is, um, even before that, humans would work. They our hunter gatherer ancestors would hunt for a few hours a day, hunt and gather, and then spend the rest of their day socializing in their social groups. So few hours working, and most of their day hanging out at camp or playing. And she talks about play later on too. But play is a huge, and I've talked about play before too. Play is such a biological necessity for our well-being, and the Industrial Revolution changed our perception of play or as of idleness into sinful. So, and that more work was virtuous. More work was virtuous. Less play was virtuous. Sorry for being annoying, but I challenge that. For example, I'm watching 1883 and I'm amazed at how hard they had to work. I don't see them resting at all. They were kicking their ass all day. But that was the Industrial Revolution. Was it not? That was about the same time. That's what I'm saying. They definitely worked their asses off. But what I'm saying for the key to well-being, like I just watched the first step. I've only watched the first episode, but I've seen some other old Western shows. Like in the old Western worlds, there were the country folk and then there were the city folk, right? And the city folk worked in the factories and got their asses kicked. And the country folk got their asses kicked in the farm, but they had, I would imagine they had more leisure, however the fuck you say it. When did the Industrial Revolution start? 1760 to 1840. Yeah. When did it start exactly? The process, this is from BritainNICA.com. The process began in Britain in the 18th century and from there spread to other parts of the world. Although used earlier by French writers, the term Industrial Revolution was first popularized by the English economist historian Arnold Toynbee, 1852 to 83, to describe Britain's economic development from 1760 to 1840. I don't know. My father-in-law is a farmer, and he's got no leisure. Haha. Yeah. Farming takes an insane amount of time. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe saying that they have more leisure than city folk is wrong, because my grandpa's a rancher, and I know that he's cutting hay and feeding cows and building fences and moving sprinkler pipe all day long, and he's 80. Okay, so maybe my point isn't getting across, because I guess it didn't necessarily even start with the Industrial Revolution. I think it was emphasized in the Industrial Revolution, this idea of more work, less leisure. Because even before the Industrial Revolution, there was and I'm kind of arguing my own point right now. I'm going to talk about the Agricultural Revolution, but she doesn't talk about the Agricultural Revolution. So give me 1 second. Okay. This is just my philosophy. So today we have to work to make a living, and we often have to work. Some people have to work full-time, 40 hours, plus overtime. Some people have to work 2 jobs, and some people are lucky enough to work fewer hours for enough money to survive. Okay. So, the concept that work is virtuous arose around the Industrial Revolution to promote more production from the workers. And the dilemma was the profit from that insane production went mostly into the pockets of the factory owners and shareholders. So strikes and petitions and unions all became normal, because humans were working more than they used to for less reward, for fewer reward. Okay, so before the Industrial Revolution, yeah, farmers and ranchers get their ass kicked and probably put in more time, or just an insane amount of time, more time than most blue collar workers today, or white collar workers today. And that's because, and this is my philosophy again, what the agricultural did to humans was domesticated them, which is what created cities, created towns, and eventually created nations. Before the agricultural revolution, humans mostly hunted, mostly gathered, and lived in transient communities. They no one settled. Humans didn't settle. They traversed through lands to look for more food and to hunt for more game. And what I'm saying is, at the very root, humans worked fewer hours then than they do after the agricultural revolution than they do after the industrial revolution. Yeah, I'm kind of way off topic from the point of the book. This is just what's on my head. So yeah, I don't mean to say farming or ranching is whatever. It's all gruesome, and the agricultural revolution is a had different results than the industrial revolution. But all of it entails more work than our early ancestors, and all of this talk that when she refers to, like, what was the thing that I said? Something about, yeah, the fight over working hours has been about returning to the kind of life we had for millennia, referring to our hunter-gatherer ancestors, not the agricultural revolution ancestors. Agriculture domesticated humans and required them to work insane hours to produce food from crop. When before the agricultural revolution, the humans relied on hunting and gathering. And you hunt one big game, you can feed. I don't know. You get half a ton of meat from a cow. It'll feed you for a while, and then you go from that, having food for a few days and doing that every few days, and gathering food and then moving around to chase game, to having to build a house and crop farm and build and plant and pray for rain and do all of that. That's how cultures and civilization pretty much began, was with the agricultural revolution. We became less dependent on big game, more dependent on crops, and it changed our human nature. I think the distribution changed. Our early ancestors worked and were able to keep the profits. The Industrial Revolution made people work to distribute wealth to others. Our early ancestors worked and were able to keep the profits. Yeah. So the death of the craftsman is part of her dialogue. Craftsmen, like leather workers, had to sell their tools because if let's say you or even in a you make leather bags, you sell leather bags, and let's say you make leather bags for 4, 5, 6 hours a day. You sell them, and then you get all of the rewards. I'm kind of doing the same thing with cleaning carpets. I clean someone's carpets and I get all the reward right now. And then let's say then Service Master comes through, or Zero Res comes through, and they have wide scale production. They have dozens of vans, dozens of employees, hundreds of employees that are all paid. So they're all paid a certain price, which drives their prices down, which makes people want their product. And I have to sell my van. I have to sell my product because no one wants to pay extra money for my service. They want to pay the premium. They want to pay the smaller price for the service, for the same service. So craftsmen had to sell their tools and give up the reward of working fewer hours for higher profit to keep a job at a factory and work more hours for less profit. But it's the only way they could survive because nobody Henry Ford is a big talking point. He pretty much created the 8-hour workday. Industries started working people. They worked kids 12 hours a day, and he noticed that people were more productive when they worked 8 hours than when they worked 12, and but they had to work 8 hours at least to get the amount of cars out. And you alone can't produce as many cars as a factory can, right? This is the point. You as a craftsman or as an individual became less valuable in the economy because of industry, because of the Industrial Revolution. Yeah, the Industrial Revolution made people work to distribute wealth to others. So, this is off the major point of the book, but it's the philosophy, and I enjoy talking about it. I think it's all really important to, at least for me, to understand why we work 8 hours a day, where the culture has come from, and what I can do about it as a small business owner. I can influence people around me in a different way than I worked at Staples when I was in college, and I did absolutely nothing. I showed up for $12 an hour, and I sat behind a desk and scanned pencils all day, or printer ink, and it was meaningless work to me, but it was all I had, because I can't get as many office materials as Staples and sell them at a premium. I would buy, if I wanted to make a living selling pencils, I'd have to buy wholesale and still not be able to match the prices if I wanted to turn a profit. Do you see what I'm saying? That's the point. Work became less about the craft, more about the production and the profit. And that's the theme, I think, of all of this. You're so adorable. I am adorable. I worked at Staples. Until I realized working 12 hours a week for $12 an hour, $100 a week isn't enough. So I started detailing cars. I started doing that, for myself. I was lucky enough for that to go the way it did. I came home for the summer and I detailed cars. I spent all of my savings on detailing equipment, posted an ad on Facebook, and I got, I probably cleaned 50 cars total ever. But it was enough to get me into, the cleaning world, and to gain the trust of my dad to help support me getting into carpet cleaning. And then, now we are where we are. I'm overworking at Staples, though, I'll tell you that. Chapter 4, time becomes money. Let's keep going, baby. We're on fire, 45 minutes in. Also, if you're listening to this later on, not on Monday at 8 a.m., we're doing this live on Facebook, on Twitch, and on YouTube under Caden's Podcast. That's where I'm reading these comments. I got family in here. I got friends in here. And you could come share your thoughts. We can have a dialogue about the book. That's what we're doing here. It's a good time. The camera is a little behind your voice again. It looks like you're speaking another language and someone is dubbing in English. That sucks. Okay, well, I'll have to look into that because it looked on my feedback. That sucks. Thanks for the heads up. VUR, FYI. What does that mean? Donnie CPBR. What's your name, man? I don't know what VUR means. All right, chapter 4, time becomes money. The more money you make, the more likely you'll believe you have no time to waste. Are you happy with the balance between work and personal life? Statistically, more hours does not result in more income. Productivity has risen so much in the 90s and 2000s, most people can enjoy the same standard of living and work half the year. Busy to continue increasing productivity. What? What was I trying to say right there? The issue is employees don't get a say with what to do with the benefits of increased productivity. This is this is the point that I'm making. She pulls up stats and smarter people studies that show that productivity has increased so much in the last 20 years, 30 years that we don't with the amount of profit that we're producing in the world means we could enjoy the same standard of living with less work. Instead, the profits from all of the excess production is going into the pockets of a few, creating a bigger gap, a bigger wealth gap, and leaving middle class and poor in the same position, but increasing. It's lining the pockets of the rich, statistically, and that's so. This is why she says earlier, is the American dream a healthy myth or a mass delusion? This idea that the harder you work, the more successful you'll be, the better your chances will be to make it, to become a millionaire or whatever. Is it a healthy myth because it encourages people to work hard in the economy, or is it a mass delusion because the chances of becoming that successful person, of having millions of dollars, is less than 1% in the United States? I'll pose that question for you to consider. But the point is, statistically, more working hours does not result in more income. Having no free time indicates how hard you're working, and hard work garners almost immediate respect. Work is a virtue, idleness is a sin. Work is always more profitable than time off. So, work feels more profitable. Oh, more so, work feels more profitable and time off feels wasteful because time is money. We skimp out on our personal lives to focus on our careers, and we don't get the return on our investment that we expect. So, that's today's world. Now, as a this is a 26-year-old, your mess. Oh, that did come through. Here's a question. When we encourage the wealth inequality and tell people to work less, does that impede innovation? When we encourage the wealth inequality, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? When you encourage the wealth inequality, because I think the issue isn't. If I understand your question, we shouldn't encourage people to work less. We should change the system so the profit from the increased innovation, the increased production, is distributed more through the society, through the culture. It's like incentive work, right? It's not necessarily. People get away with charging by the hour because it's an easy metric to measure. Oh yeah, so and so they worked 40 hours this week, and your time working 40 hours is worth $20 an hour. So it's easy to pay for the time invested, but it's harder to measure creativity and innovation because those don't always have direct results. If you're a creative or an innovative person, you can't say, oh, well, this person, they came up with 10 new ideas and those ideas are worth, $500 a piece. Like, how do you measure innovation? How do you measure creativity in a business? As an accountant, how do you measure an accountant's innovation or creativity? It's kind of only measured if that person patents it or what's the word? What's the word where, like, it's not prioritize, where it's a P word that means proprietary. Yeah, if you make something proprietary and it's successful, then you're rewarded with that creation or innovation. But if you're just a writer for a blog, how do you measure that person? How do you pay someone for their creativity? How do you measure that? That's the point. When we tell people to work less because of wealth inequality, will that make people less inclined to innovate? When we tell people to work less, yeah, I don't think that's what that's at least what I don't think we should tell people to work less. In fact, that's not what she's saying either. The book is called Do Nothing, but it's not about literally doing nothing. It's about taking back. Well, I'll tell you. It's about how to break away from overworking, overdoing, and underliving. So it's not about yeah. It's not about not literally not doing anything. It's mostly about um taking back control of your time. And anyways, I don't, does that answer your question? The issue is that the again, I've said it probably a dozen times now. The profit from the production is not being distributed properly throughout the chain of workers. It's being put in the pockets of a few owners and shareholders. So so this idea, time is money, time becomes money. We feel like we can't waste our time doing things we enjoy, because now we think when we play video games all weekend, we're wasting our time. Therefore we're wasting money and opportunity and productivity. But you know, my bills are I pay my bills. My bills are paid. And so I feel guilty. I feel guilty because of this, because of that, this culture of time is money. And there's a whole conversation to be had about inappropriate use or overuse or overdoing hobbies. But I guess what I'm saying is, I feel guilty still with this perfectionist mentality that I want to be the most productive. I want to be the most successful too. And I don't want to waste time. And this is where we're left, is with this concept that time is money. I feel like I'm repeating myself. Anyway, so I'm going to keep going. But yeah, I don't think we should tell people to work less. We should encourage people. We should change the dynamic of money distribution, because it's disparaging to workers, and it does not promote creativity or innovation. In fact, you think of you fill your time with busy work. And I'm not going to call anybody out, but I was playing video games on Friday because I try hard to take Friday off. I was playing video games, and I had a buddy that was working, normal work hours, and he was in my video game stream, and he's like, I'm here till 5:30, and I'm gonna, I'm not doing any more work. I don't have anything else. I'm just sitting here until the time passes. This is it's the idea of that you have to put in 40 hours a week to get your paycheck, because that's what we can measure. But if this person can go get their work done in 4 or 5 hours, they should be paid the same and still get the time off and still be able to go home and go do things that they enjoy, go play video games or go on a hike or spend time with their family or whatever, or go date somebody. You could say it's me. I don't want to say it's you, but if you're going to say it's you, then I'll tell everybody that it was mashed potatoes. It's just the idea that you have to put in 40 hours a week because that's what we can measure and that's what we deem acceptable. I just disagree with the metric. That's we've come to in our work society. I'm probably getting off in the weeds. I just think of all the super wealthy people, and they worked 18 to 20-hour days. It's not healthy, but if Steve Jobs worked less, would we have Apple? It's a good question. Would we? It's a really good question. Here's another question. Do we need Apple? I like Apple. I use it every day. I use several Apple things every day. I use several things of technology every day. Innovation I think part of innovate, like the drive, a big drive, not the only one or the main one, but a big piece of motivation to innovate is financial. It's, you create something for money. I mean, how many people create new things because they love to create that thing? I mean, what was Steve Jobs' Apple ethic? Did he create Apple as the software of Apple because he loved engineering and coding, or did he want to compete with Bill Gates and Microsoft and create a better product that was different? And then be the owner of it. So so that's, I don't think we should. I actually, kind of thinking about it and saying it out loud, I actually think we would still have Apple, because Steve Jobs wasn't well, I don't really know his whole history. I watched that movie with Ashton Kutcher, but that was, that, I don't know how accurate this whole, doesn't even explain the whole history. And I don't remember shit about it. The point is, I don't think Steve Jobs was putting in 40 hours a week doing some work and then couldn't be innovative. I actually think he just lived with no money for a long time, because either he wanted to make a software that was better than Apple or better than Microsoft and then reap the profits, or he was just a creative dude and loved to code and loved to was in that tech boom era. So I think, I don't know. I think everything's got factors at play, but I think the point is, what if Steve Jobs was working 40 hours a week and he was told that he couldn't take time off because that was sinful, and therefore he put extra time into his work and then neglected his creativity, neglected his innovation, and never created Apple because his job told him you can't. But I don't even think he worked. I think that's the point. I think he was able to express his creativity. He was able to be innovative because he didn't have a job. He was the job. He was Jobs. That is what drives innovation. Good ideas plus money equals innovation. But I think yeah, for most people. But I'll tell you, like you say, I think I love to create shit like this. I love to do the podcast and write because I don't have money tied to it. I love it because it's creative. And you can't measure my creativity. You can measure how many episodes I put out, how often I blog or post shit. And then I guess you can just decide if it's quality content or not, and then pay based off of viewership. But it's all like, the metric for creativity is so interesting, because how many 18 to 20 hour days did Steve Jobs put in with no return, with no immediate return? How often did he work without getting paid? Was he creating Apple because he thought, if I can get this off the ground, I'll make millions? Or was he thinking, I've got an awesome product and I love creating it, and who cares if it makes money or not? It's going to be awesome. And that's my I want to do this podcast. I've said this before. I want to do my creative shit and get paid for it. I would love that, and then not have to do all the other shit that cleaning carpets every day to make money. But I'm not getting paid. But this is what satisfies my creativity, my creative whatever. This was like fulfilling to me. Helps me feel like I'm contributing to the world in a positive way. And whether I do this for 40 years and I never get paid, doesn't matter, because indigestion. I put in the work, put in the hours, because I love to read the books. I love the knowledge. I love the creative thinking and the challenge. And anyway, I'm not creative or innovative because of the money. Not right now. I would love to get paid for it, but that's not how it is for me. I don't know how it is for most people. J.K. Rowling has a metric. She wrote and was unsuccessful, but then wrote Harry Potter. You can be a writer and be innovative, even though she wasn't an engineer. Yeah, it's exactly what I'm saying. And was J.K. Rowling writing because she thought, oh, this book, if this one sells, I'll make millions. And then it never sold. And she's like, oh, I'll write this one and I'll make millions. But then it never sold. And then she just kept trying it until she hit a gold mine, right? Was she writing for that gold mine, or was she writing because she's like, this is how I feel and this is the story in my head and I'm writing and I'm going to publish it. And, if you want to read it, please. But I'm not writing it for you. I'm writing it for me because this is my outlet of creativity. And then you write a Harry Potter, and then you write 8 Harry Potters, and then you write spin-offs of Harry Potter because of the money. But did she write Harry Potter because she was trying to hit a gold mine, or was she writing it because she loves to write? She loves to be creative. I think the argument that I'm trying to make is humans need this outlet of creativity and innovation, and our current work culture inhibits that because it requires us 40 hours a week of this truly old-fashioned culture because it's measurable. 7 Harry Potters? There's not 8 Harry Potters? I thought there were. But there's 2 parts. There's 2 movies. That's what it is, right? There's part 1, part 2 of the 7th book. Okay. Watch The Fringe Benefits of Failure. She wrote because she was born to be a writer, and despite the setbacks, she worked hard at her art and was massively successful. Yeah. I think, thanks for sharing that. The Fringe Benefits of Failure. I'll watch that for sure. Okay, so again, I'll reiterate it and I'll move on. I think we need to be creative because it's in our human nature and innovative, and our work culture inhibits that, and because it promotes extra work in your job. It's busy work, it's filler work, whatever. And it's not productive, it's not creative all of the time, but you're required to put in 80 or 40 hours a week. And it inhibits your ability to be creative. And you wouldn't have people like Jobs or Rowling. And those people did their shit for however long and made $0, lost money on their shit, but they kept doing it because it satisfied their need. They were really good at it. And then eventually they hit a gold mine. Big fan of the 4-day work week. Yeah, she talks about that in here too. And I have a podcast on that one too. But I think it's. Oh wait, are you talking about the book, The 4-Hour Work Week, or are you just saying the 4-day work week is awesome? Because yes, I've been trying really hard to keep my work week to 4 days, Monday through Thursday, and have Friday through Sunday to do my shit. But I say all the time, I'm happy to work Monday to Monday if it's 3 hours of work a day, 3 or 4 hours of work. And then, if you sleep 8 hours a day, you're left with 16 hours of waking time. And if you work for 4 hours a day, maybe even 6, but let's say 4 hours for 7 days a week, and you sleep for 8 hours, you have 12 hours of doing whatever you want all day long. I will say that I definitely don't need 40 hours of work to do my government job, but the private company absolutely needs the 40 hours. Where'd it go? People innovate with the private company to get tasks done quicker. And this is what I'm going to say. So innovation is happening within the 40 hours. I think it depends on how much time it takes. Yeah. And that could be a distribution problem where you don't have enough employees. I think the government hires too many people. Just saying it, just a thought. The government maybe hires too many people and leaves them with busy work and then just sitting around time. But private companies are, they nickel and dime because they want to maximize profits, and so they hire the fewest amount of people, pay them the cheap labor, or just pay them as little as possible, and you're left with overstressed, overworked employees in private companies. So when I think about hiring this kid to clean carpets with me, I think about how I don't want to do that. I could give him, I could say the plan, work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, and I'll fill your schedule, and we'll have lots of work to do. But I know how I feel when I do that, cleaning carpets. I could, and I've had 60-hour weeks cleaning carpets, and it's just hard. And then maintaining that sucks, and that makes me hate my job, and it strained my relationship with the people involved in my job before it was just me. And I don't want to do that for my future employees. You know, if I ever have any, or if I just have this one kid. I don't want to do that to myself. So when it's just me, I love keeping my schedule to Monday to Thursday and then trying to keep my hours limited to 6 hours a day. So I'm working, 6 times 4, 24 hours a week. And when I could be working 40 hours a week and making way more money. But the point of the book is you don't need, I'm lucky enough where I get to make those decisions. I get to choose not to work so many hours because of this principle where overworking or even just 40 hours a week takes away from your quality of life. And like she says, the productivity has risen so much in the 90s and 2000s. Most people can enjoy the same standard of living and work half the hours. So, I mean, that because of our increased productivity. So, yeah, some companies, yeah, I could put myself through. I absolutely need to work 40 hours a week to get the work done, but that's a distribution error. That's a problem with hiring. I don't have enough people doing the work. Ideally, the company invests more in the employees, takes less profit to invest more in employees, so they can get the work done in 20 to 30 hours a week instead, and get more business, more employees like that. So instead of maximizing your employees, you distribute it out through several employees, and the company will take less profit. That's the problem. They're maximizing the employees' workload so they can maximize their profit. They'll give someone, they absolutely need to put in the 40 hours a week to get the work done, but it stresses out the employee, but lines the pockets of the owners and the shareholders. And it's just an ethical dilemma, in my opinion. It makes the employees resent their job, or sometimes, or makes it sucks. You know, they might be getting big paychecks because they're working so much, but they. Sorry, I see your comment, but let me finish, Mom. They're making big paychecks, but they're working. They're just neglecting other aspects of their life, which is what this book is all about, so that they can make more money. And the whole point of the book is stop trading your time for money. It does not increase the quality of your life. Start trading your money for time. More time is more happiness. It's the whole point of this book. When you start trading, when you stop working overtime, and again, she emphasizes in the world we live in, some people have to work full time every day. Some people have to work 2 jobs. Some people have to work overtime. It happens. It's just the world we live in, unfortunately. But quality of life increases tremendously when you trade, when you take less pay for more free time. That's the whole point of, I mean, I just summarized the whole book. That's the whole rest of the book. We're happier when we stop trading our time for more money, for more work hours. That's the point. Brooke, I'll probably never be invited again, but I have a lot to say about this. So, devil's advocate, don't you think the draining job and its problem has the potential to propel people forward? Nothing will make someone more motivated than a really draining job. So, the employee has to become creative in order to find a way outside of the machine. It's a good question. I think my first thought is not everybody is intrinsically motivated anyway. And when they are dealt hardships, they often complain, and they just kind of just bitch about their life. And so, you know, I think this is kind of I'm just shooting in the dark here, but I think people suck at critical thinking because it's at least as for me, it was never a concept clearly understood. I've had to learn about creative thinking in the last year, really, you know, like thoroughly what it is, why it's important. So when people are depressed, they don't know why. They don't know why they're depressed. They don't know why they hate their job or they resent their spouse or hate their family and their friends or are just depressed and stressed or anxious and they're gaining weight and they feel like shit and they don't know why. Like, people who don't exercise feel like shit, but they don't even know they feel like shit because they've never felt good. They just feel shitty all the time, right? I'm shooting in the dark here. So they feel like shit and your job sucks, but they don't know how to fix it. They don't know what's better for them. They don't know what's so yeah, they work draining jobs and they just feel like shit, but it's like this is the only way I know how to pay my bills. I don't know how to invest my money properly and I don't have hobbies and my wife, she nags at me all the time anyway, so I don't want to be here. I'm going to just be at work where it's at least better than here. I don't know. So, do you think a draining job and its problems has the potential to propel people forward? Yeah, 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 but I don't think that's the point. I don't think you're supposed to be. I don't think business owners should be. They should challenge their employees. They shouldn't baby. I'm not planning on babying my kid. I don't baby myself. I don't baby my partner. Um, I challenge myself. I try to challenge myself every day because I'm learning the value in challenging things, in pushing yourself beyond your limits, and um, and taking on challenges. But it's not it. The challenges serve no purpose if you don't learn from them or if they're not meaningful. Right? If if I could stick it out at Staples, I could work my way up the corporate ladder at Staples, but it's not fulfilling that doesn't make me feel like a better person by selling paper clips. So and carpet cleaning doesn't do it for me either. That's what I'm learning. I resented carpet cleaning for a while because it's just tedious work every day that people are annoying sometimes. Most of the times it's really straightforward and not complicated, but I don't feel like it doesn't make me a happier, better person. And that's kind of why I started doing this too. It's because I've always enjoyed. I was talking to Kayla about this. I find most satisfaction in my life when I try to inspire other people. And that's kind of what this is supposed to be. I'm trying to inspire you by what's inspiring to me. So I kind of resented cleaning carpets. I don't want to clean carpets for 20 years. That's what my dad did. He's one of the hardest workers, probably the hardest worker I know, and he's up there with a few other people that I know. And he just said, he cleaned carpets for 20 years. He kicked ass. He was doing it every day, tons of hours every day. He had a whole family to support from the beginning, so he really didn't even have a choice. That's kind of the limiting factor to this. He didn't really have the availability to pull back on hours because he had to pay bills and had to support a family. And whether he loved it or resented it, he had to do it. And then now he's into other things that he enjoys. But I guess what I'm saying is I'm in the position now where I'm able to cut back on my hours and still support my life because it's just me. And then build a company based on my values that fulfill my life purpose. This is such a privileged thing because how many people are able to do this, where they can invest their time and their energy into their company and into themselves by taking less work hours. It's such a privileged position, and I've considered myself very fortunate to have this opportunity, really, to do a podcast for an hour and a half every morning on Mondays, read books, write, and then work fewer hours in the week, take extra days off when I have to. But the point is, I think work is supposed to be fulfilling. It's not always fulfilling, but at least you shouldn't be gouging your eyes out, and you should always have time to do something you love. I'm not going to get through this whole book. We're an hour 15 in. She says at some point to spend time every day doing something you love, even if it's unproductive. You should spend time every day doing something you love, even if it's unproductive. Because our lives, if you want to be happy or have a high quality of life, you shouldn't be drowning your time in a job that doesn't fulfill your life purpose, all right, or doesn't bring you closer to your values, doesn't make you a happier, better person. Oh, wow, a lot of comments. Nothing will make someone more motivated than a really draining job. So the employee has to become creative in order to find a way outside of the machine. I agree, but I don't think I don't think a job should serve that purpose. I think the job should provide a safe place for a person to be creative. They shouldn't say, "I'm going to give you this hard ass workload and and you figure it out." And then the person feels like shit and they're like, "I want to get the hell out of here." So they go be creative. The job should say, "Here's the work for our business. Here are our values. This is my principle." The work should have its values, its principles, and then bring employees and say, "This is the work that needs to be done, and here's what I require of you, but I'm also going to give you the I'm going to give you the ability to be creative. I'm going to give you the ability to take time off when you need it. I'm not here to stress you out. I need this work to get done. You're qualified to get this work done. Here's what I'm going to pay you to get this work done for me and for this company. But I'm not here to stress you out or overwork you. I'm here to make your life better. I'm here to provide you opportunity. I'm here to give you cash to support your family, to invest in your future. And I'm here not to take all of your time, to take some of it to get this work done, and then to spend other time to work on yourself and provide you opportunity." I don't think the job's purpose is to be draining so that you're creative. The job's purpose is to let you be creative. I agree with everything you're saying, but working for an actual good company that pays people what they're worth and pushes innovation is a really rewarding experience. Did I read that wrong? I agree with everything you're saying, but working for an actual good company that pays people what they're worth and pushes innovation is a really rewarding experience. Like, I'm working 40 hours a week, but I come home every day feeling like I was valuable to others. And that's great. That's the point. And if you don't have to take I'm not like saying this. Yeah, and I don't. Okay. Go work 40 hours. Go do shit that's fulfilling for you. And that's the point. That's the whole point. If your job is draining and depressing, you should spend less time doing that. You should go do other things that are satisfying and rewarding. And that's great. If this was my job and I spent 40 hours a week doing this, I would feel great. And it would be, it might be tedious at times and it's a job. But this is what's rewarding. I don't get paid for this. I do this because it's rewarding. I clean carpets because that's how I keep the lights on. But I don't want to clean carpets. I don't like cleaning carpets. I'm good at it because I've been doing it for 4 years. But I get work and then whatever. Like the point is, yeah, if you work 40 hours at your job and you like it, yeah, fucking don't change anything. That's such an important thought. A lot of people don't have the critical thinking skills to propel themselves forward. They're clocking in for a check and benefits and stay enslaved to the job. But if one becomes restless, the uncomfortableness can often move a person forward if they can critically think about themselves through the situation. Yeah, you're exactly right. If you hated your teaching job, you'd have to be a teacher because you got to pay the bills, right? Even when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad a long time ago, his big thing is keep your day job. Keep your day job because you got to pay the bills and you have to make money. You have to make money to pay for, like, the whole point of that book is buying assets and having zero liabilities. That's what real wealth is, right? So if you want real wealth, buy assets. But how are you going to buy assets if you're not making money? So you have to make money somehow. Best case scenario, you love your job. You love the work that you do. It's very rewarding, satisfying. Most people or some people don't like their job, but they have to work it because they got to get paid. They got to have money. It might be the only opportunity obviously available to them. It might be the only thing that they've ever really thought of or that's been available. But, if you actually hated your teaching job, you shouldn't do it. But I know you love your teaching job. You love interacting with your students, and you get to do this, but for a crowd. You get to be inspiring to kids, to malleable minds, and show them that there's more to life than getting a job, and whatever. But if you hated your job, you shouldn't be doing it. You should spend more time doing things you like. You should spend more time. Um, you should stop trading your time for money. You should stop thinking that money is what's going to make you happy. Working a job for the money doesn't make you happy. Doing things that you enjoy is what makes, or what's satisfying and fulfilling is what makes you happy. Those are right. Those are awesome comments. What are you talking about? I'm not going to invite you back. Those are all awesome. Yeah, and I like what you said, Hayden. If working for an actual good company that pays people what they're worth and pushes innovation is a really rewarding experience. Awesome. That's and everyone has everyone's turned on by different shit, and so I don't know how I would do to with the land surveying thing. I think that land surveying is interesting in itself, but what I feel like it's bringing me closer to my goals or to my values, I should say. I'll tell you this. I think we're going to have to wrap up the book because it's already an hour and a half, or it might keep going for a second. But I think what I'll say, I'll share my my vision for my life because I'm still trying to paint it clearer and clearer every day. The idea is to take the advice that I'm learning from all of these books, like from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, use my money wisely to buy assets and have more free time available. I think I saw a tweet by Kevin O'Leary, a.k.a. Mr. Wonderful, on Twitter from Shark Tank. And he says, I think he said something like, the point of being an entrepreneur is not to make millions of dollars. The point is to get your time back. Something like that. So to take that principle widely is to say, I want to create an awesome business in carpet cleaning because it is an opportunity. It's the opportunity that I kind of walked into 5 years ago when I started detailing cars by myself. And I have the chance to turn it into an awesome, profitable business where and to create an environment for other people to work together to keep it functioning and remove myself from the daily labor. Receive a smaller paycheck than working every day in the business. Receive a smaller paycheck and use way more time to be creative in a space like this. To receive a small paycheck from a business that I started where I'm paying a bunch of people. That keeps the lights on. It does not make me rich. Carpet cleaning will never make me rich, but it will. The goal is that it will give me the time to do whatever I want, to keep the lights on and to keep my belly full, and to allow me to do shit like this, to do podcasts. I could do a podcast an hour long every day, but it's far too time consuming, and I have work to do, and I'm doing other things too, like writing and doing the TikToks now. And I try to play music too. If I wasn't working if I had the 6 hours that I put in carpets into this, Jesus, what could I accomplish? That's the whole point. This is what I want to be doing, whether it's making me money or not. This is how I want to spend my time. This is what I want to do with my time. I think celebrities are the epitome of this. They have hella wealth, but many of them seem miserable, and they have unlimited access to money. This is Brooke. But then you can have a farmer who makes pennies. Yes, on the pennies on the dollar, and are very happy and fulfilled. Money does not equate happiness. Yeah, that's the whole point of the book. Very nice. Thank you. That's the whole point of the book. I used to think I wanted to start a business because I want money, because money is gonna allow me to be free and happy. And while that's true, the way you get there is not what's important. What you're doing with your time is what's important. Like I said earlier, if your goal is to be a millionaire by 40 because you want to have all the money in the world to go do all the shit, but you sacrifice your well-being to get there, then what was the point? If you hated your life up until your 40s, then what was the point? I think it's better to live a higher quality of life with less money today and onward than it is to hate your life for 20 years to become a millionaire and then probably figure it out by then, or probably be happy by then. So, yeah, jeez, good. That's my little monologue for the morning. Um, should I just brush through the rest of these points? Hour and 26 minutes. Um, idleness is not laziness. Chapter 5. Chapter 6. Women are usually tasked with more errands than men. Multitasking is a delusion. Chapter 7. Human needs. Basic human needs are food, water, shelter, sleep, human connection, and novelty. These are really all the things that humans need. The humans need, right? Your basic needs: food, water, shelter, sleep, human connection, novelty. She argues that we don't need work to thrive if our human needs are met. Shame, guilt, fear, stress, etc. arise when someone doesn't work because, one, most people live paycheck to paycheck. That's the problem with not having assets. Most people work paycheck to paycheck, so they're always under constant stress. And two, we lose status with friends and family without a job title. They think we're lazy, or they think they're unsuccessful or unproductive because they don't have a job title. Fear, guilt, stress, shame arise when someone doesn't work because most people live paycheck to paycheck, and we lose status with friends and family without a job. Quote, "It's not the emphasis of hard work that's unhealthy, it's the obsession." Well, I like that previous point. We're afraid not to work because of those, and I'm, like I started this podcast, I'm guilty of feeling guilt, shame, fear, stress by when I play video games on the weekends, all weekend. I played all weekend. And it's probably, like, if you want to balance it out, don't play the whole weekend. Play like half of the weekend. And then go exercise and go read a book and just do something else. But, I played most of the weekend. But, yeah, but it's guilty because, like if I take this vacation, I'm neglecting my paycheck, or I'm rejecting a paycheck. And can I pay my bills this month if I don't work if I don't make this much money this week? It's stress. So that's chapter 7. Do we live to work? We work to survive. Pretty much we should work to survive. And just like I said, I want to create a business, have a business that meets my basic needs. Food, the business does, not my hard work, but the profit from the business pays for my food, water, shelter, sleep, human connection, and novelty. And all of the extra work that I put in, all the extra work I put in for money is does not increase the quality of my life. Let's see. She says, maybe it's not here. Yeah. So if I have a business, if I have assets that are paying for my basic needs, and I have all of the time in the day, then I'll have a higher quality of life. I'll be a happier person. But most, like I'm repeating this. People feel shame, fear, guilt, and stress when we don't work, because most people live paycheck to paycheck, and we lose status with friends and family when we don't have a job title. All right. Skimming through some more. Chapter 8. This is about shared humanity, universal human nature. So after our basic needs are the elements of shared humanity. And we need, what did she say in the introduction about shared humanity? She said, the key to well-being is shared humanity, not more efficiency. Not more efficiency. And efficiency, like I described it in my TikTok that I'm about to post, efficiency is it's optimizing your time. So basic shared humanity includes, or qualities include social skills and language, a need of yeah, a need to belonging that fosters empathy, rule making, following rules, enjoying music together, and playing together. We need all of these things to be healthy. That's basic humanity. And when we try to optimize those things through emails, like, or FaceTime, when we stop visiting our friends and family to play and count our interaction with them through video games or count it through FaceTime, we are not meeting. We're not gaining the same benefits through that interaction as we would, as humans do, when they're face to face interacting. Texting is efficient, but it does not satisfy our basic need as humans. Email, FaceTime, social media. It's all it's like empty interactions, right? Like yesterday when I was thinking, I played this new video game for several hours and we did a whole bunch of missions and killed a lot of bad guys, and when I turned the game off, I thought, I feel like we did all of these things, challenging things with my friends, and they weren't literally rewarding. They were metaphorically rewarding. So I turned it all off with nothing to show for my my efforts, my strenuous efforts playing video games. So I think that's like besides the working for money, time for money aspect of the book, she focuses on stop optimizing your relationships. You can't optimize human interaction. It doesn't work. Doesn't make us feel better. Empathy serves to be one of the biggest connectors between humans and helped us survive through evolution. Then she talks, chapter 9, is tech to blame? Lots of points on social media and phones. We think staying current on social media keeps us informed and safe, which is a tribal instinct. More efficient and secure. It's more efficient and secure. Taking in info rapidly is not conducive to reflection or reasoning. Excuse me. So so social media is it's efficient and secure, but is not conducive to reflection and reasoning. I think that's very important. Part 2, I'll just blaze through this because it's time to wrap this bitch up. Leaving the cult, how to get your life back. Chapter 1 is challenging your perceptions. This is how I started, spoiler alert. Keep track of how you spend your time so you know where your time is going. You can't change anything about you can't change your habits if you don't know what you're doing. If you want to, I think the food diaries are so cliche, but they're so effective at, if you're not thinking about what you're eating, then you're just going to eat. And then you're like, why am I gaining weight? Or why am I not gaining weight? But you're also not aware of what you're eating and when you eat it. So being aware of your time, how you spend your time when you're playing video games, being aware of how much time you spend on social media, or how long it takes for you to, how many times you hit snooze, how you spend your time, being aware of it is one of the biggest things you can do to influence change, better decisions, better decision making. Chapter 2, stop making comparisons, especially on social media. Our ancestors used to only be able to compare themselves to their neighbors, but now we literally watch a show called Keeping Up with the Kardashians. So we have unrealistic expectations for ourselves because of other people's experiences. And comparison is a good natural trait. We naturally compare ourselves to others to see where we fit in our tribe. But yeah, now we have too many people to look at, too many people to compare ourselves to. And I think it's especially hard for women. I think it's harder for women in general, and I'm shooting in the dark, it's harder for women with their looks to see Instagram models and shit. And then it's harder for men to see money, super successful money guys on Instagram. I compare myself to, to those rich people And I'm sure women compare themselves to the Instagram models. Generally, shot in the dark. Stop making comparisons. Let's see. Determine how well. Yeah, from that chapter. Determine how well you completed your work versus how long it took you. Chapter 3, step away from your desk. Stop choosing to work extra hours. Yeah, there you go. If you want less stress, instead of trading your time for money, trade money for time. Start hiring out people to do shit for you. If you work 40 hours a week and you want to do stuff with your family, but you have to mow the lawn. If you want to do stuff on the weekend, but you have to mow the lawn, you got to clean the car, clean the house. Start trading your money for time. Start hiring out small things to get more time back. This is what the part 2 is about, how to get your life back. Chapter 4, invest more in leisure. Spare time is time between work. It should be completely unpolluted by work. Leisure is what we enjoy because of what we accomplish from work. Take time each day to do something you enjoy that's unproductive. Chapter 5, make real connections. Small talk makes you healthier, happier, and more relaxed. I love I've always been a small talker guy anyway. I think sometimes it's dumb, but in general, like at the grocery store with the scanner, or just at the gym, with clients, I've always been a small talker. Oh, she's calling me. I will call you. Doing the pod. I'll be up soon. Sorry, she's sick. She's calling me. It's time to wrap this up then. Altruism increases happiness. Okay, and then chapter 6, final chapter. It's not the chapter 6 is called Take the Long View. It's not about being productive. It's about what you're producing. This is about goals and systems, life systems, because better than goals is it's not what we're trying to accomplish. It's how we spend our time, right? If your goal is to be a millionaire, then you should spend your time every day doing things that bring you closer to doing that, but also don't make you hate your life. Because you could work 80 hours a week to be a millionaire someday, or you work 40 hours or 20 hours and use the money you're making and use it wisely and save more and invest more, right? It's about using your time wisely, using your money wisely, and having life systems that support your values and not just doing meaningless chores to meet your goals. Keep asking yourself why until you ultimately arrive at your final objective. Be sure your habits are contributing to your progress. I said read the last chapter of this paragraph, but I have no time for that, unfortunately. Conclusion. Hard work does not guarantee success. Creativity is a critical skill and cannot be institutionalized. More money does not equal more happiness. Hard work culture shames idleness and stagnates creativity. I had a really good time talking about this book with you two in the chat. Thanks for showing up and for the couple that came and went. This is one of my favorite books probably of all time. I love the message. It's changed my perception on work life, work culture, how to spend my time, how to use my time. It helps me feel like a better person. I love thinking that I have control of my time. When I make decisions that give me more time, just having more time in general makes me feel better. So highly recommend reading this, or at least considering the principles from it that we talked about in this podcast. Catch my shit on my blog, cadenkelly'sblog.wordpress.com. And check out my TikTok and my Instagram. My Instagram's right here, Caden R. Kelly. I got the TikTok as well, but I don't know what my TikTok name is, so just find all my shit on Instagram for now. And this is the last one of February. We're moving on to March 7th. No events, says my calendar, so we will be here. If you want to reach out to me with suggestions, you're welcome to message me on my socials, or I think my email is on the blog, honestly. And you're also welcome to come and chat in the podcast contribute to the conversation. Thanks for having me. It was fun. Love you. Thanks, Mom. Love you. Go do something challenging this week. It feels good to do something hard afterwards. It kind of sucks to do it, but go do. When you do it, you feel better afterwards, especially if it contributes to your values, if it brings you closer to the person that you want to be. Go do something challenging. Don't be a lazy piece of shit. I was a lazy piece of shit this weekend, and I've been spending an hour and a half talking about it. You're not a piece of shit. Go do something challenging. You have control of your time. You have control of your life. That's all I'm going to say. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.
だけが読み直している。